Welcome, welcome everybody. How are you doing today? It's so very nice to have you here. And I wanted to speak today a little bit about practice or obstacles to practice and about the role of the nervous system in awakening and in freedom. So the word practice can be a little misunderstood or a little confusing in the context of advaita or the non-dual teaching, because we are not practicing presence. Presence is our true nature. That's who we are. And of course, naturally, presence is already here. So in this moment, we can check on that, of course. Or really at any moment, we can simply very directly check on that. So the reason why we don't know this at any given moment is because our attention is not at rest. And that's what I call practice. I call practice retraining of our attention, right? That's what inquiry is. That's all the things that we learn about inquiry and the nervous system and how to be here. It's retraining of our attention, right? So that it can learn to be here. So why is it challenging to practice? Because, we all know that it works, right? We have all experienced these moments when you actually do it. Yep, it works. And yet it's challenging. It's challenging to sit down and practice. Why is that? So number one is the momentum of the past. You see, this momentum that, has been going on here for millions of years. So we are very well trained in that, right? Our attention has a really long-standing training in not being here, right? So, when past arises, there's that momentum, there's that movement. That's what makes it challenging, right? That's what makes it difficult. And also, when past arises and it shows up in your physiology, and it shows up as thoughts and feelings and sensations and emotions, and it looks very real, right? That's also what makes it difficult to just simply be here. Another obstacle is that if you have experienced some challenging events in the past, and if your nervous system has learned that it has to be vigilant, right? Or sometimes we have this vigilant or overactive nervous system that so quickly goes into fight, flight, or freeze, or overwhelm or collapse. So the nervous system has the habit of being vigilant, right? Because that's what it needed to learn to assure the survival of this body. And let's remember that the main function of the brain and the nervous system in the human body is to assure the survival of this body, right? So if the nervous system has that habit to be vigilant, then sitting down or being quiet, can sometimes be experienced as dangerous on the level of physiology, right? Or as danger, right? And that's where you will experience resistance, right? That's where you will experience an inability to be here. So that is why it's so important, to learn about the nervous system and the capacity of the nervous system to be here. Because that's, that and the understanding of the role of the nervous system in awakening and in freedom, that's what makes it possible for us to train the nervous system, to train our attention, to train the brain to relax, right? the little reptilian brain that tends to overreact. Train it to, or teach it how to relax so that we can come more into the moment, right? So when past arises, we really have the capacity to be here. So especially when there's so much going on, when there's feelings and sensations and emotions and thoughts, and it looks like, that looks very real, and our attention is lost in that, right? That's a very simple learning, how to learn to come back here, notice the sensation in the body and just be here. Teach the nervous system to relax, teach the brain to relax and come more into the moment. So I want to invite you to learn the simple practice that I teach. I have recorded a video that is on my website and you can follow that. Of course, I want to invite you to come and learn the process of inquiry and learn about the nervous system and the brain and how to grow its capacity to be here. And I want to invite you to join me in the upcoming programs where I will be speaking about the role of the nervous system to be here, the role of the nervous system in awakening and in freedom, where I will be speaking about what does it mean to be here? How do you do that, right? Just be here. What do you do? And I will be also speaking about elements that are necessary for awakening and freedom. So I hope to see you there.